All right, we're back on the podcast, and I've been looking forward to having another Megna on the airways with me today. He's a current professional hockey player and now unrestricted free agent, former Anaheim Duck, Jayson Megna. Megs, welcome onto the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Pumped to have you on. How we feeling? How's Colorado treating you right now?
Feeling great, man. No complaints. Body's feeling healthy, so that's always positive going into the off season. So excited to take some time off and spend some time with family.
Yeah, family time's important, especially, in the off season, right? To just kind of recharge and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially I got a 2-year-old daughter, so
Yeah.
I love spending time with her, and she changes so much. It feels like every day. So I hate missing time spent with her. So it'll be nice to kind of watch her develop and grow here as the summer goes on.
That's the best part about the off season, is just family time with her. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. I want to get into the Megna family real quick. I had Jaycob on early on in my journey with the podcast, so let's get right into it. Your whole family down the line, all athletes. I mean, you guys, your dad played in the NFL, you and Jaycob play in the NHL, and I know your sister, I believe, was a figure skater too, and mom played a sport too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My sister, she was a figure skater, and then she actually played club softball at FSU. So, mom was a water polo player, swimmer. So definitely got a lot of athlete in our bloodline there.
How was it? How was it in the household? Was it pretty competitive? Was everyone going at it?
Yeah, at times it was very competitive. Obviously, it's just some sibling rivalries and stuff like that. But no, it was fun, and I think it was great that me and my brother were so close, and we were able to push each other and kind of help elevate both of our games. It was kind of a competition, and then obviously the support that we've had from our sister and our parents has been fantastic. So I think just having everybody play sports, they kind of recognize and understand that it's healthy competition, but nice to have a good support system too.
I'm sure there's a lot of families that would die to have your guys' genetics. Let's just point that out here. You guys spent some time in Chicago. What was it that got you into hockey? I know Jaycob had pointed out, but I want to hear your point of view on that.
Yeah, so funny enough, it was just I had never really known anything about hockey. We were born in Florida. I moved to Chicago when I was, I think, 4 years old or 3 years old, one of the two. And I remember going to a birthday party at an ice hockey rink. It was just a public skate around that they had rented out for the birthday party. And um, I actually got around pretty good for my first time, and used the boards for the first little bit. And by the end of it, I was kind of on my own. And obviously took a couple spills, but I just had a blast, and I thought it was really fun. So I asked my parents about it, and they signed me up for a house league team when I was 7 years old. So I guess I kind of fell into it because my parents didn't really know anything about hockey. My dad played football, obviously, growing up. My mom was into swimming and water polo. So um, just kind of happened by accident, I suppose. And then obviously Jaycob wanted to do what his older brother was doing, so then he followed and got into hockey too. But yeah, just it all came about from a birthday party public skate. Funny enough,
That's wild. And I know like dad probably helped that out, just getting you guys into the rink, you, your brother, and your sister too. Were you all three skating at the same time?
we were all three skating at the same time. My parents, my poor parents, didn't have a life. I don't think about 15 years between them both working and then just driving us around all the time to our events. So obviously nothing happens without the support of our parents, and for my family in particular, definitely leaned upon heavily upon them getting us to and from the rink. So shout out to them for sure. They put in a shift.
Big time. Yeah, yeah. Without our parents, we're not where we are today, obviously, right? So
Uh,
big time. Hey, listen, I want to bring up a big highlight, a big moment in your career this season, and your parents flew out for it. Jaycob was on San Jose. You got picked up by Anaheim halfway through, and you got to play against Jaycob in the
yeah.
NHL. And what a moment, right? And especially for your family, your parents. How was that? What was it? What was the feeling like?
Yeah, it's hard to describe, man. It's one of those things like you always talk about it growing up, like we'd love to play in the NHL, and it's not something I think either of us really thought was ever going to happen, but it was fun to dream and work hard and something to chase after. So, um, growing up with him, spending all those workouts with him, we went together to school at Omaha, um, played against each other one time in the USHL, and just one time in the American League actually as well too, and then just being able to play against each other in the NHL, like just both of our kind of childhood dreams. Obviously, it'd be cool to play on the same team one day, but getting to play against him, having my parents there, honestly, just kind of like a full circle moment, like tough to describe. Seeing him work so hard throughout his career, and I'm sure he'd probably say the same about me, and to just kind of fall into that situation was pretty special.
No doubt. I'm sure it was an emotional time for your parents, but I know Jaycob, it meant a lot to him for sure. Yeah, that
Yeah,
photo before in the warm-ups. I love that photo of you guys.
yeah, right at the red line there. That was something that we'll frame down the road and have in our man cave somewhere in the basement. So that was a really special moment and something that I'll obviously never forget.
Yeah, I'd say what top two. You won the cut with Colorado, then you had that time with Jaycob. That game is that top
Yeah,
two for you?
yeah, I think it's got to be. It's got to be. First NHL game is always memorable. And then obviously being part of the cup team was incredibly special, and doing that whole parade, that whole dance was pretty amazing. And then getting to play him, I'd say it's definitely in the top three for sure.
Love that. Um, I want to bring up something too. Jaycob, this is good. I'm going to spice it up right now. Jaycob and I have been texting this past week, and I told him I was going to have you on.
Yep.
So I said, Jaycob, I need a few things. What can I talk about on the podcast for your brother? So he wanted to chime in real quick. He wanted me to bring up your golf game.
Okay.
Well, how's the golf game working out for you? Are you swinging clubs into windows, Megs? What's going on?
No, the golf game's pretty crispy right now, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, no, so we both played golf growing up, but we didn't really start getting into it until we both turned pro because I played baseball all the way up until senior year of high school. So I was always
Okay.
like, had summer tournaments, whatnot. I never really had an off season. So when I turned pro, I finally had my first summer where I was off and I started getting into golf. And um, I my wife will tell you this. I'm probably a little bit over obsessed with golf. Like I love it.
Okay.
I'm trying to play as much as I can. And I think it's such a great game. We play a team aspect all the time in hockey, and
Right.
sometimes things are out of your control. And I
Right.
find golf is just such a great individual game. You have no one else to blame, and it's all down to you. And I think it's just a great mental game. You can build some mental toughness, and it's I don't know, it's just a beautiful sport. I love it. I would play it every day if I could. And um, the game is pretty good right now. I'm looking forward to having some matches with my brother, but he doesn't get out as often as he used to.
How is it between you two when you guys play each other in golf?
Like I said, he doesn't get to play that much,
He
so
doesn't play?
I,
Okay.
I think no, he does. He plays, but he's got two little girls at home, so for
Oh,
him
I know.
um, it's really tough. So he actually has potential. He's got a lot of. I mean,
Okay.
you met him. He's 6'6". He can hit the ball a mile.
Right.
He's got potential. He just doesn't. He lacks the consistency right now. I'll just say that.
No doubt. It's very therapeutic to get on the green, to
Oh,
golf and stuff. I
great,
want
isn't
to I want to point something out real quick. I want to go back about the journey of being a hockey player. Like, there's so many highs and lows. I mean, you and Jaycob would know, right? Up and down, up and down. And it's like a lot of people give up and they doubt themselves, right? They just give up if they have an L for a day. But it's like you guys stuck through it and you're playing in the NHL now. And I want to point that out because in the beginning of my journey with the podcast, I wanted to bring on people with inspiring stories that are going after what they want and not giving up. And you guys are prime examples of that.
Sure. Well, yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a journey for sure for the both of us. And I was undrafted. Jaycob was drafted close to, right at the end in the seventh round, or maybe it was the eighth round. And it's there's a lot of, like you said, up and downs, peaks and valleys, and it's something you got to just trust in and believe, and just know that if you work hard at the end of the day, that's all that counts, and can control what you can control is what I like to say. And I know that I can control my attitude and my work ethic every day. So that's kind of what kept me on course.
It's in the bloodline, man. You guys, you're born to win. There's one more thing he wanted me to bring up. I was a little iffy about it, but I'm still gonna do it because I trust
Bring it on.
Jaycob.
Yep.
He said, "Bring up his body fat in college." What's
He
what's
loves the
this all
story.
about?
It
What's
is
this?
pretty awesome. So we had is this the yeah, I think I know exactly what he's talking about. Okay, so obviously like at the beginning of every year, we have strength evaluation, body fat, weigh in. They want to see like what you've been doing in the summer, how your body's training. It's a good tool for them to kind of see like what you've been doing, but also what's a weakness and what would be good to work on. So if you need to change something in your diet, or you need to, work on more upper body or lower body core, various things, right? So maybe it's mobility for the goalies. You never know. Right? So I go in and I'm one of the, first guys to go for body fat. So everybody's kind of standing around, like listening. They do the with the caliper and they have someone typing in the numbers.
Right.
So it's going through, everything's fine. And then the strength coach pinches my stomach and I see the little wheel thing. It turns
Yeah.
a couple times and it lands on 4.
Yeah.
And that would be an unbelievable score for me and pretty much for anybody. I think if you're in between like the 4 and 10, you're like shredded, right?
Right.
So I see it go 4 and I was like, oh, 4, no way. And our strength coach yells out, 24. It spun around a couple times before it landed back on 4.
No,
I read it on the thing. It's too funny. Yeah. So
that's great.
that's the
Okay.
to say I had to do my diet a little bit better after I found out that score.
That's funny. Well, it's all worked out.
And it's
It's
worked
all worked out.
out.
I want to bring up another subject, and that's the NHL playoffs. Have you been keeping
Yeah.
an eye on it? Anybody's playing? I've been watching, so I want to dive into this.
Yeah, I have. I've been following it pretty close. I love when it's on every day. I think it's great. And then when you got a couple games on, I think it's the best time of the year, especially in that first and second round.
Yeah.
Been some great hockey, and I obviously followed it because my brother's team, the Kraken, was in it. So,
Right.
sadly they bowed out last night. But yeah, I've been following it, man. What do you think so far?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, there's a lot of surprises. Florida beating Boston was, I think, a shocker for a lot of people.
Yeah,
But
huge.
I called it when I said Brandon Montour, Monty, a good buddy of your brother's.
Yep.
He stepped up, man. He's been great in the postseason, huh?
He looks incredible, doesn't he?
Amazing. And Matty Tkachuk too. I really out of the East. I like Florida. I think they've
Yeah.
been playing great.
I mean, it's tough to argue that, especially knocking off the arguably the greatest team in NHL history, right? Like the most points in the regular season, and
Yep.
for them to kind of sneak in even last minute, right? Like they snuck in with a couple
Right.
games left, and then they took down Boston. They're like, well, these guys are for real. So I think it's really exciting. I mean, it's been really surprising because I think if you look at it from an outside perspective, and you go like you're doing filling out your brackets or whatever, it's like if like, I don't think anybody probably had Boston or Colorado not making it to the second round. So it's been really cool to see how the league has such good parity. I think that's primarily what it shows is that these teams are closer than you might think, and
Right.
um, obviously getting some hot goaltending in Florida's case with Bobrovsky has been super helpful. So I think it's going to come down to goaltending the rest of the way, like it usually does in the playoffs.
Totally agree with you. It's built off momentum.
Yeah.
It's you just don't know anyone can win, right? And that's a great point. Out of the West, though, I did say Vegas would be the team to go all the way and actually win the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
And I can say that now that a couple buddies of mine are out of the playoffs. So
No, I mean, I think that's a great pick. I mean, again, they got the firepower, and it's going to all come down to goaltending. I mean, if they get
right,
hot goaltending, that team can score 5 or 6 goals every night with the guys on their team. So even the guys in the back end, you got Theodore and Petrangelo, and those
right.
guys put the puck in the back of the net just as much as other guys. So I like that pick. It's a good pick. I think it's going to be a great matchup between them and Dallas.
No doubt, it's gonna be a great, yeah, of course. In Dallas too, it's like kind of out of nowhere they stepped up. I like the addition of Max Domi. You got Sagan, Ben, and Ottinger is a great goalie too.
Yeah,
He's a stud.
he's a guy that flies under the radar, I think, throughout the hockey world, and he's been so solid for them the past couple of years. And obviously now they're in the playoffs, and you're getting to see a little bit. I think, like we just said, it comes down to goaltending. So whoever's hot and has the momentum and can
Right.
ride it, they're gonna win. But I like that matchup a lot in the West.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. Who's your team? I mean, which team do you think is gonna win the cup? I want to know. If you had to guess, who would you
If I
pick?
had to guess,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's Florida, just because I feel like all the
Wow.
stars of the line they've beaten Boston, and I just feel like it would line up great. And if Bobrovsky's the Bobrovsky that we've seen, I think that they're just such a scrappy team. They're built the right way for the playoffs. They got guys that can skate, guys that are heavy, they're physical, and Kachuk's playing great. So I think Florida, but again, I've been wrong before, so that's my pick right now.
They've had the toughest road, I think. I mean, to have Boston and Toronto, it's not easy. Those
Not
are not easy opponents.
the way that they handled Toronto, especially in that environment. I think most people had Toronto winning that series as well. So I think
Right.
they've proven everybody wrong. So they're a hard team to bet against now. But I love the way that Carolina plays. They're so in
Right.
your face all the time. It's so high paced.
Right.
When they're in their building, like that place gets rocking. It is so difficult to play in. So
Right.
I think that's going to be a real good test.
Yeah, their home ice definitely gives them the advantage. With Florida, though, I really believe that they have the skill, they have the goaltending, like you said, but they're mean. They're
I
mean.
mean, they got an edge to them, which
Right.
you need in the playoffs, especially. So um, that's my pick. I don't know. Do you think you sticking with Vegas?
I mean, I am. I will say though, Vegas and Florida Cup final, and if Florida wins, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked either. But I
Yeah,
think Vegas has everything from
yeah.
top to bottom. So we'll see.
Couldn't
You know?
agree more. I think either way, whoever wins that series,
Yeah.
Vegas and Florida is going to be one heck of a party at the end of it.
Definitely would be happy with that. Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tighten up all of your body's basement, but this year, Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Make sure you look your best this spring by using the code WISCG to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code WISCG, WITHCG at manscaped.com. Focus on the face and use the Beard Hedger Pro Kit for the cleanest look in the game. On to the episode, baby. Let's go. I want to transition to another subject, and that is mental health. I've been focusing more on mental health, Jayson. And, I want to talk about, as a professional athlete and NHL player, what do you do for yourself to take care of you day to day, on the ice, off the ice, what do you do?
I mean, I think that's such a good question. I think everybody's been taking a little bit more inventory of their mental health lately, just with everything going on in the world. Been through a lot, everybody the past couple of years with the whole global pandemic and COVID. And I think for myself, I think the biggest thing, which was difficult younger in my career because hockey was my identity, where it was like, I'm a hockey player and I want to play well. And if things aren't going well, then I don't feel great about myself. And I think just having a good support system, my parents and my brother, just my sister, being able to jump on the phone with them. I think using the people that really care about you and kind of expressing your feelings and maybe not holding it in all the time.
Right.
I found that was super helpful. And then when I got married and had a kid, now it's, what happens at the rink stays at the rink. I'm not bringing that home with me because
Right.
my daughter doesn't care at all if I scored a goal or was -5. Like, she's just happy to see her dad.
Yes.
And that to me has been probably now the easiest way for me to just disconnect from everything and just be like, listen, that happened 2 hours ago and now I'm home and I got to be the best dad that I can be for my daughter and the best husband I can be for my wife.
Good for you. That was a great answer, man. I mean, and that's good that you're aware of that. I mean, self-awareness is a huge thing, right? And one bad shift doesn't define you, and even if you're sat for a game, it doesn't mean that you're less than what you are really capable of, man. So I think it's huge to be aware of.
Yeah, no, and listen, I can sympathize with the guys that, are coming up and, maybe they're first rounders and or undrafted, but they've, developed so fast in a certain way and they have all these pressures on them and the people that are counting on them. And I think it can get pretty heavy, man, especially in the day and age of social media where it seems like everybody's, a critic behind doors and, but you see it and you read it and it can be really difficult. I think finding people that you can talk to and just kind of get away from, or even if it's golf or it's something you go see a movie and just kind of disconnect from everything. I think it's important to kind of take time away and reach out to people that, truly care about you for you and not for you as the hockey player.
Yeah, that's huge, man. A good support system. You got your family,
Yeah.
your wife, and your child, but the balance is huge. Being off that phone, because it's like I think a lot of people online want to live their perfect lives and show that when it's not really like that, and
Man.
there are a lot of critics, bro, and like It's not, it's just, it's all a reflection of how people feel about themselves. I always say that, but I think it's like taking that time away and being present is the most important thing.
Totally. I think you put away your phone, it's the healthiest thing for you, especially these days.
No doubt, man. Hey, I want to talk about dogs today. We got a lot of dog lovers, I think,
Okay.
on my podcast that listen to my episodes. I want to talk about Enzo. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my guy, dude. Your dog. I want you to
You guys have
pronounce.
fun with him?
I had so much fun with Enzo with Wyatt.
Yeah, he's laughing.
How do you pronounce the breed?
Weimaraner.
Thank you. It's a little tough
Yeah.
one for me.
German short-haired pointer family, German bird hunting dogs. They're similar to the Vizsla and the German short-haired pointer.
Yeah.
Uh, my wife, funny enough, so this is kind of a cool story why we have Enzo. I had a lab growing up, a black lab, and then a Shiba Inu. And my wife had a Weimaraner growing up, their family dog. And oddly enough, the dog they bought from this breeder, they co-signed just in case like the dog ever became a show dog, they would be able to use it to show and breed or whatever. And it was out of a litter of 8 to 12. I can't remember the exact number, but sure enough, their family dog ended up being like the stud out of the group. So they would lose their family dog on the weekends because it would go show in like Westminster, or would go to this dog show, and it would be bred with this other breeder.
Right.
So it was kind of crazy. So um, I'm playing in Vancouver, and my wife, who's my girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
we started living together that first year, and um, sure enough, one of her childhood dog, his name was Hudson. He passed away a number of years before, but he was having his son was having a litter in next to Vancouver. So Enzo is her childhood dog's great grandson, which is kind of cool. So
Wow.
um, direct bloodline from her childhood dog growing up. So that's the story of Enzo, how we got him.
He's an amazing dog. I really connected with him. It's funny because when you went to Santa Barbara with your wife and your child,
Yeah,
Wyatt had invited me over when he was house sitting the dog, and he's funny. He tells me he's like when I was trying to sleep at Jason's place, he just wanted to sleep with me, and I kept telling him to stay on stay on the ground and just relax. But Enzo's like, I ain't having it, dude. I want to be right next to you. And
just
what he
snuggle
did, he put his back against Wyatt's back. It's that unconditional love. You know, that
talking about
connection, man. He's the goat, man. I tell you, and he
yeah,
was very affectionate with me. And as a hunting dogs are known to be very loyal to their owners. With you,
yeah,
I'm sure, and they're affectionate to their owners. But I mean, they're one of a kind, man.
yeah.
And the breed is.
He's he was a handful when we first got him. Okay, so like he was, he's got all that energy, and like he's a hunting dog, so he needs to be put to work, and he needs his runs and all that stuff. But when you give him his exercise, man, he is like you said, like so much affection. He's so smart, and
Yeah, smart.
he just wants to be around you. Like I'll sit on the couch, and he's 75 pounds. Like he'll try to sit right on top of me. Like he just wants to be feeling his owner and being
Yeah.
right there with you. So I can see that with Wyatt. Like he's probably like, dude, just sleep on the floor. And Enzo's like, no, man, like I want some body heat. Like I'm coming on the bed.
Well, I was like, all right, man, we'll cuddle. We'll cuddle. I want to tell you a story about a dog story for me. And this is kind of in regards to mental health. So I came out of my place and there was a little Jack Russell Terrier, a 6-year old, with its owner walking by, and it just came and it gravitated towards me and gave me so much love. And that's another hunting dog, right?
Yep.
And you know the guy was really sweet, and then I think a week later the wife was walking the same dog, came right up to me, and she goes, you know what, I've been dealing with she opened up to me because I've been talking about mental health. I told her about the
Yeah.
podcast. She's like, hey, listen, like I've been having a lot of anxiety and depression, and my therapist had told me to just get a dog and see how it works, and it's totally just helped her feel better. And that unconditional love, that companionship, that connection with the dog is huge, man. And it impacted me to hear that dogs really do. They're they're
Yeah.
they're loyal, man. Like there's something about dogs it's really healing, you know?
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I think it's they give you unconditional love is the same thing kind of as a child, funny enough, where it's like they don't care what you've done today. They don't care like how you did at your job or whatever. Like when you get home, they love you no matter what, and they just want your love and attention. And so I think it makes you kind of forget about what happened the rest of your life and what happened the rest of the day, and you can kind of just be present with them. I think it kind of just minimalizes everything else that's going outside, and you got to focus on them and just compartmentalize, which I think is just a beautiful thing.
It's huge, and dogs can get people through the toughest times of their lives. It keeps people going, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fascinating what they can do, isn't it? Nowadays, like I saw, a service dog the other day was just leading this old lady down a street and just, stopping at the crosswalk, and the way that they can train these dogs now and the things that they can do, it's truly incredible. We don't deserve them oftentimes. I'll say that.
Amen to that, man. I totally agree with you. Great point. So coming down to this episode, the end of this episode, what's next for you, man? I know you're a UFA.
Yeah.
Definitely going to spend more time with the family, I'm sure, and recharge, enjoy Colorado. And I know there's going to be a certain time when you start working out again, and then you kind of line
Yep.
up with your agent and figure out what you want to do. What's next for you?
That's a great question. So I actually just started working out again. I can't take too much time off. I'm just one of those guys that has to be doing something, staying busy, even if it's just like a body weight thing where I'm not, lifting super heavy weights, just something to stay active. I gotta have some discussions with Anaheim before the July 1st, free agency day opens. So
Okay.
I have until then to kind of figure out, what the situation is there, kind of what they're looking for. We can go through contract talks, and that's on them right now to figure out if they want me back or not. And so that's basically the next month or so is just figuring out kind of where I sit with them, and figure out the draft and all that stuff. And they're going through a coaching change right now, so they got that and a couple contracts to sort out before they get down to what they want to do with me. So I'm just sitting tight, like I said, enjoying spending some time at home with the family and trying to play some golf, and getting some workouts in, and getting ready for next year. I feel like I don't take too much time off, but it's definitely nice to just not have a routine or to have to go into the rink every day. I can kind of wake up my
Right.
daughter and put her to bed. So that's been great. I'm just going to enjoy that, and try to soak up some nice weather here.
Love it, man. And if they're smart, they'll keep you. I'll say that. I think you fit nicely into that lineup, man. And I watched you play, and you did great.
Yeah.
Down the stretch, you're kind of thrown into the fire, man. Tough season for you.
You know what? It's such a great group of
It's
guys,
a great
and
group of guys, though.
great
Right.
young team of really exciting guys. Yeah, they got Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras, and Mason McTavish, a bunch of just great players. Jamie Drysdale was injured all year, but
Right.
seen what he can do on the ice, and he's super impressive. So I think the future is extremely bright in Anaheim. It was a great group to be a part of, and hope everything works out for the best, and that I can go back there if that's what they want, and I'd love to be a part of it.
Absolutely, man. And I hope it works out for you. Okay.
Thank you.
In conclusion, I want to say this: it's so inspiring to see two brothers play in the NHL, and I'm hoping that one day you guys will be able to play together on the same team. Crossing my fingers for that. But it's inspiring, man. You don't see it that often, and I just love that you guys are living out your dream. You got a great family, and I'm glad we can connect today. And just keep going, brother. You're doing a great job. Okay.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. And thanks for having me on, and best of luck to you in your endeavors in this podcast industry. And it was a pleasure talking with you. All the
Uh,
best. If I can ever do anything for you, let me know.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. And if you're around, we'll grab dinner. So we'll have to see.
Would love to.
All right, brother. All right. Thank you. Have a good one. Enjoy the family time.
Take care. Thanks so much.